Welcome in, everybody. I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Gerry Hamilton. This is On Texas Football. Got a little live broadcast tonight. Unusual for us on a Thursday evening, but given the circumstances, we thought we'd do it. Plus, we thought, and that circumstance is Xavier Crowell, one of the nation's top running backs, if not the top running back, out of Jackson, Alabama, expected to announce between Alabama and Texas here in the next 5 minutes. We'll have that decision live. We won't actually be going to the feed, but we will let you know what's going on. We also wanted to update you on some other news and notes as it relates to recruiting as well. We will have that.
Let's put this out there. I think we've heard more Bama. We'll see what the kid announces. And we'll see what he announces. But we're also here to talk recruiting in general. A lot of big decisions coming up and a lot of movement going on right now.
There is a lot of movement. Gerry, you just put an update on you just put an update on the board not 10, 15 minutes ago on a number of prospects for the University of Texas. I'm going to give you the graphic and let you talk about the guys that you updated for everybody on Texas football.
Yeah, so here's Crowell about to announce his decision. Chase Calicut, I lean Georgia over Texas. Malachi Lee, I lean Michigan. We all know Damari Simeon. The next guy would be on June 28th, James Johnson, one of the best D linemen in the country. I literally think that could go either way between Texas and Georgia. I know a lot of picks have gone in for Georgia, but I don't know. We'll see. Xavier Griffin, I think Texas has a real shot there. I think Texas is in a good spot with Gerville. I think Caden Finley, I don't feel good about. Turntine, I do feel good about. We'll see when Felix Ojo announces his commitment date. I think early July is what we're looking at. Smoke Matthews, I hear a little more Texas and South Carolina chatter, but, that's going to be a battle all the way out till July 11th as it gets closer. Jermarion Carlton, I think Texas has been in a pretty good spot there. So there's a lot of – Texas is going to get some of these guys. Some of these guys are going to go elsewhere, and I think we're going to look up at the class rankings in about 2.5 weeks, and Texas is going to be sitting in the top 5.
Yeah, Cozy Okpala there also is actually – July 3rd, not July 2nd as well. All right, Gerry, we talk about this, and we've seen Xavier Crowell. Let's take one more look at him before he makes his decision. Is this a decision that no matter which way it goes, whichever team wins, the other team better watch out over their shoulder the rest of the way?
Yes.
Maybe for Xavier Crowell?
Yes. If he announces for Alabama, Texas is going to continue to recruit him. If he announces for Texas, you dang sure know Alabama is going to continue to recruit him. Obviously the other two hats at this presentation right now, which is underway, but he hasn't announced his decision, are Georgia and Auburn. And he has a teammate that's a really talented quarterback, Landon Duckworth, that's expected to pick South Carolina over Auburn. So what we shall see. But you see Xavier Crowell here plays on an extremely talented team. Big wide receiver, tight end is going to go to FSU or North Carolina. Like I said, the quarterback's a stud athlete. Probably going to go to South Carolina over Auburn. But one of the most talented high school teams in the region offensively, and they beat KJ Lacey in Saraland for state title last year. But Crowell's a special prospect. If he goes to Alabama, I guarantee you Texas will continue to recruit him. If he happened to pick Texas a little unexpectedly, then Alabama will absolutely recruit him.
You look at him running for all this yardage here, Gerry. No mistake. In his freshman and sophomore campaigns, he rushed for more than 1,600 yards his freshman year, 1,900 yards a year ago. All total, he's averaged more than 10 yards per carry as a freshman and sophomore. He has not even had a junior year because he's skipping his junior year to play as a senior this year and graduate a year early. That's how good this young man is, Xavier Crowell. Also,
Bobby, he plays. People have always wondered, like, hey, what would zone read with Vince Young and Adrian Peterson look like? That's kind of what they do at the high school level here with this Duckworth kid, who's a top 5 quarterback in America who just went to Elite 11. And Crowell is a top 3 running back in America. When they run zone read, nobody knows where to go. I mean, the quarterback rushed for 650 and Crowell averaged 11 yards a pop. And the quarterback threw for 3,500 on top of it.
Well, Gerry, I think we'll see what all happens and transpires here in the next few minutes. as we gear up for this. We're going to take y'all's questions like we do on our Monday night edition of Talking Ball as well. So please feel free to get your questions in. I want to say thank you real quick to our sponsor. Our sponsor for tonight is Omaha Steaks. If you're grilling out for the 4th of July, make sure you check out Omaha Steaks. 4th of July cookouts are an annual tradition. My favorite thing to grill, steaks and burgers, of course. From handcrafted steaks to family grilling favorites, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience for all of your 4th of July grilling plans. Enjoy USDA-certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, and so much more. Now, during their 4th of July sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $45 off with promo code ONTexas at checkout. It's really a great deal. Again, 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com, and then an extra $45 off with promo code ONTexas at checkout. Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917, family-owned company with more than 100 years of expertise. Again, get fired up for the 4th. omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide during their 4th of July sale, and for an extra $45 off, use promo code ONTexas at checkout. That's on omahasteaks.com, extra $45 off with promo code ONTexas at checkout. See site for more details. Thank you so much, Omaha Steaks, for your sponsorship. All right, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Gerry, is this a harbinger of things to come?
I want to say before he announces, we think it's going to be Bama. Let's see what he does. I just want to be clear on this for the people that are joining.
Yeah, we're not trying to play something up here.
No.
I mean, this isn't us, knowing something and not divulging it per se. But Gerry, if he chooses Alabama or Texas, do you think it's necessarily a harbinger of things to come either way? Or is this just going to be a natural roller coaster based on who Texas is recruiting and the caliber of player and the number of heavy hitters they're going up against right now?
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about here. I mean, we don't want to bring the graphic up again because he's getting ready to announce a decision. The local sports, the local news station is handling his commitment. They're live right now. Yeah, I mean, look, just think about what we're talking about here. This is an Alabama-Texas battle, unless something crazy happens here, which I don't expect. I think it's Alabama, us leading Texas has been for a while. You look at the guys tomorrow, Malachi Lee, I think, is Michigan over Texas. I mean, Calicut is a Georgia-Texas thing, and I lean to Georgia right now. And then, you keep going down the list. James Johnson on the 28th is a Texas-Georgia, and I think that could go either way. Sunday, Xavier Griffin, the 5-star, Texas or Alabama. I mean, that's where recruiting's at right now for Texas. And you go into July, and it's the same thing. I mean, it's Texas versus playoff teams, or Texas versus SEC powers, or Texas versus a team that's won national title 2 years ago. It's right where you want to be in recruiting, and he's getting ready to announce his decision right now, by the way.
Oh, let's see what he does. You never know. That's why we're here. Gerry, I think of it, and as I think of all the things going on right now at Texas, and all the good things that have gone on, the Manning Passing Academy actually is going on right now. Our CJ Vogel is over at that. The Texas State 7-on-7 is going on over there as well in College Station. A lot of football being played, or football's in the air, but recruiting is maybe the biggest piece of it. It would be a big upset if this is Texas, that's for sure, especially in deep South Alabama.
He's having he's playing the hat game right now. He's pretty much already said it's not Georgia or Auburn, and now we're down to the 2, and it's Alabama as expected.
Alabama, tough one. That's a big time get for the Crimson Tide, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Crowell was identified early by Texas, and someone that the Longhorns really went hard after. We're trying to get him on the board, but Alabama has some things going for them. I think as much as anything, Gerry, it's the fact that Ryan Williams, their star wide receiver from a year ago, also went to college a year early and then had such a good year. Yeah. They've got a little bit of proof of concept in that category at this point. And I think that's a big piece of it. So Xavier Crowell is off the board. He has committed to Alabama. That is a tough one for the Texas Longhorns. Where does Texas go from here at running back? We talked a little bit about it earlier this morning, Jerry. Your thoughts on where Texas goes at running back?
I think it's to be determined. I think they'll continue to recruit Xavier Crowell. Just like we talked about at the beginning of the show, Texas will probably keep recruiting a couple of the other guys that have committed elsewhere. Then there's the senior guys who they've taken a look at some guys in state and out of state. So we'll see which way it goes. Look, and then there's reclass possibility from 27 to 26 that's out there as well. We'll see if anything comes to fruition in that regard. And I'm saying that's possible. Zealous Hicks was a 26 that reclassed to 25 at safety last year. So there's going to be some of those possibilities as well. But I will say this. I don't think Texas will back off Crowell.
Okay. All right. We'll go to the chat line here. Xavier Crowell, running back out of Jackson, Alabama, has committed to Alabama. Unfortunate for the Longhorns, but it happens. Justin Yarbrough, $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Justin, for Jerry's Longhorn lampshade. He may have had to use it if Crowell would have went to Texas tonight. Roy Womack, thank you, Justin, for the super chat. Roy Womack, I could be wrong, but for our top 50 or so top targets, when you're listing their top 3 or 4 schools, I haven't been hearing OU much. Why is that? What's shifting or has shifted, Jerry? Do you have a thought on that about what's I
mean, look, I'm going through this right now. The only guys who officially visited, I mean, Jake Cruel, who some people think may end up at Oklahoma. He's from Orlando at IMG at Edge, but obviously Texas is doing well at Edge. He's visited. There may be the linebacker Jandro, but Texas didn't push on him, committed to Oklahoma, where his brother was already committed. So there's 2 guys that visited the same school there. And I was going down the list. There may be 3 total that have made official. That's it. No, 2. There's only been 2 guys who officially visited Texas and Oklahoma in this cycle.
So why is that? Why do you think that is?
I think look, and I think Oklahoma will have a solid class, but I don't think they're not going up against Georgia as much. They're not going up against Alabama as much in this cycle. And is it NIL, Bobby? I mean, I don't have
Notre Dame and Michigan. Are they going up against those guys like Texas is so much?
Not as much. Not as much.
Just recruiting a different kid right now, Roy. I hope that's helpful. John Rafferty, thanks OTF for the live stream. Thank you, John, for supporting us. We are very thankful. Bevo92 has something here for us, Jerry, that I like to get to. Love that Sark is swinging for the fences. Do you agree with this? Because I talked about it and wrote about it this morning.
Yeah.
Do you like the fact that, before Texas got about 55 to 65% of their recruits they would go after? They really did.
Yeah.
You could say Texas recruiting wasn't great, and sometimes it wasn't, but the guys they went after, Texas hit pretty good. This looks like more a 35 to 40% hit rate, but their slugging percentage may be a little bit higher. You agree with this long-term play, or is it risky, or where are you at on it?
No, I'm all for you recruit, you start it in your own home state, and you say, okay, how many of these guys are the level guys they feel like they need? And there's going to be really good players out of the state every year that go on to be NFL draft picks, and you're going to look back and say, well, why didn't Texas offer that guy? That's the easy part of this equation. But I like where Texas sits because they're casting the correct wide nets in the trenches around the country where you have to, whether that, especially on the defensive line at edge and at linebacker, which is not trenches, but linebacker in this class as well. I like what Texas is doing in recruiting. It's hard to argue with recruiting at Texas when you just signed the number 1 class and you've signed 4 straight top 5 classes. And I do believe it'll be 5th straight top 5 class this year. It's just, if you're going to be in battles with Georgia and Florida, in the state of Florida, and Alabama and Michigan and Ohio State and Notre Dame and USC out west, if those are who you're battling, you have to cast a wide net because you're only going to win 35-40. We talked about this morning. Georgia's had, I think, 58 official visitors. They have 21 commitments. That's the game. I mean, that's where you have to be. You got to bring in enough of these talented players to where when the dust settles and you look up and you say, did we fill all our needs? Maybe not. Do we have a tremendous class of talent we can develop? Absolutely. And I think Texas is doing the right things.
All right. Bevo92 also asked, will you clarify what you're expecting to hear from Malachi Lee tomorrow? You just mentioned, if you mentioned the Open, Gerry gave us a rundown of various news bits that he had picked up today. One of those is confirming that Malachi Lee, as of right now, we believe is leaning to Michigan over Texas. That's a big offensive tackle out of Kamehameha High School over in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Tremendous player, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, just the guy that's going to go somewhere else. That's all it is to it. This super chat from our friend Jenglish. Feels like we're trending for a number 5 to 10 class ranking this at this rate. Any chances Sark can turn the class to a 1 to 3 class? You disagree with 5 to 10, but what's it going to take to get even higher up? Is it going to take some other dominoes to fall, Gerry, that we're just not aware of right now?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, Texas is trending better than they were last year at this time. That's the one thing I'll say. And Justice Terry wasn't even on the board really this time a year ago. Grayson Littleton, who was a top 100 in the country, wasn't on the board. So Sark's going to recruit through the whistle, as I call it. It's going to December, and he's always going to December. But yeah, the thing about this, what's Texas ranked 10 in class rankings right now, roughly? Well, you get a 5-star and a high-ranked 4-star, and suddenly you're already in the top 5. So at the end of the day, though, with these recruiting class rankings, it's how many guys do you sign, and where do these guys fall in the final ranked prospect rankings? That's a big part of all this. If you go sign 25, if Texas signs 25-plus players in this class, they're going to have a top 5 class when the dust settles.
That's all you could ask for. I think that people get too hung up on first versus third. I mean, look, Texas is not going to sign a number 1 class every year. That's not going to happen now with NIL the way it is. I mean, look, Illinois, theoretically, at least from a revenue share perspective, is going to have as much as Texas.
Yeah.
Indiana will have as much. I mean, it's just, it should make it a little more equitable, you would think, but we shall see exactly how that all rolls out. Hey, Gerry, you made mention of a possible reclass from 27 to 26 as a running back. Anith Singh asks a good question. Who are the RB targets that could reclass? Do you have someone in mind right now?
I don't right now.
Okay. All right. All right.
I mean, that's a long way out.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you guys are listening to the live reaction here. Our running back prospect that was on the board for the Texas Longhorns, Xavier Crowell, from Jackson, Alabama, has committed to the University of Alabama. It's a big one for the Crimson Tide. It's a loss for the Longhorns as well.
Tremendous.
As we said from the get-go, they'll continue to recruit him. They'll try to find other running backs too. This is a full combat sport in the SEC. I think is the best way to put it, right, Gerry?
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, Auburn won't give up. Nobody's going to give up. They'll just keep fighting and chipping away and see what happens. Great player. I think he's a tremendous football player. Great.
Yeah. K-Drag asked this. It's the eternal Sark question. If we don't get the players we want, are they content not accepting players we should pass on? Sark's proven he's not willing to do that in the past. I don't see this year changing that, K-Drag. No. I really, really don't.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, I think that's just antithetical to what he wants to do and how he's going to operate. All right, this one from Trooper Green. If Baxter gets healthy and what we've been hearing, the running back room will be all right. However, for the future, we need a big get. If not this year, definitely 27. Gerry, does it put by missing on a Xavier Crowell? If Texas indeed misses on that big time back this year, okay, how imperative is it they get one in the class of 27?
Well, big time. I mean, like, difference between highly ranked and what's big time to them. But yes, Texas will have to do well in 27.
Yeah, a top 5 running back like a guy that's going to make a difference is what I think. I mean, I'm in that category. I know that people are high on James Simon right now on campus. They've still got Christian Clark, Jarrett Gibson, as well as Trey Weiser and Cedric Baxter. But I want to put that out there. There could be two of those guys gone next year. And so I'm not so sure if Texas doesn't get this done this year, they might not go to the portal. I think that might make a lot of sense at the position. All right. Hey, look, we've got a couple more questions, then we're going to get going here on this episode. This one from Griff Holler. We lose a running back commit, but look at the DL class right now compared to where we were last year. The sky is not falling. I want to be clear. There's nobody. Gerry and I have been very clear on this, and we've been through this before. It's a little different for Texas fans because, like I said, the hit rate is going to go down when you start competing against bigger national brands, and particularly when you're competing against them in their backyard instead of your own backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, you think a running back in the state of Alabama wasn't, expected to go to Alabama from birth, and all of a sudden Texas is going to come in there? I mean, it takes some more doing. That being said, to Griff's point, defensive line and offensive line look like the priorities this year. Overall, Texas appears to be prioritizing those two spots. You agree with that, Gerry?
Yeah, defensive line, edge, linebacker. I think there's a big push at linebacker too. But for people saying you need everything all the time, absolutely. And you're not going to win all these. G-Man says Oregon landed DK. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get all these guys. I mean, that's just the reality of it. But anybody, I don't know what to say. Texas signed the number one class in the country last year. I mean, I don't know the complaint meter at where it's at. There isn't one for me. You just being experienced in this, you're not going to get all these guys. But here's the thing: you have to recruit enough of the really good players that are fits, that you have the talent in your 85 and the depth you need. And then if you have a hole, you go fill that hole. No different than anybody else is doing. But I think Texas is going to be absolutely fine. And I think their D-line class is an edge class. That front seven is going to be really strong. I believe that in this class. That's going to be what people are talking about most out of this Texas class.
All right, let's close it out tonight with this one from our friend Nathan. He asks, Bobby and Gerry, does Texas ever opt to not recruit a prospect because of their representation? I'm assuming you mean their agent. Are there some agents that Texas support staff has good relationship? The answer is yes and yes. I mean, and I think that I know that Texas has chosen not to recruit a prospect, not just because of their representation, but because of their family and how they acted. I mean, and so it's a two-way. I mean, this is while it is called recruiting, and Texas is going after a lot of great players. Some players just aren't matches, and the families aren't matches, and they move on. That happens at every school in the country. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're, I don't know, University of Houston or the University of Texas. It just doesn't matter.
Well, I say this all the time about recruiting is, people talk, because the Alabama topic, people talk about all the 5 stars Nick Saban signed at Alabama. Think about how many he turned down. Yep. I mean, that's the thing. And there's a lot of Alabama fans in this chat. They can back this up. Nick Saban he signed a lot of more 5 stars than anybody. He turned down guys too. It's got to be the right fit. If you start leaving the right fit, it's not collecting talent, it's building a team. And you want to build the most talented team you can with the right fits. And that's never going to change. That's the one thing that's never going to change in this business.
All right. Are there some agents that Texas support staff has good relationship? Yes, there are. But at the same time, those relationships aren't going to supersede the needs of who they're representing and the category there. All right. That's going to do it for tonight's live stream. Thank you all so much for joining in and visiting with us tonight. For Gerry Hamilton, I'm Bobby Burton. Congrats to Xavier Crowell. He chooses the Crimson Tide over the Burnt Orange of the University of Texas. But like Gerry says, no matter what, great player, Texas is likely to continue to recruit him. We'll see if that ever comes back around. But for now, Xavier Crowell commits to the Alabama Crimson Tide. For Gerry Hamilton and our producer, Matt Hutchinson, I'm Bobby Burton. You guys have a good night. Hook 'em.